Yes. Today, let me start. So Maharaj will be talking about the disappearance disappearance of Jayadev Goswami today. Thank you. Over to you, Maharaj.
Om Gyantimirandasya Gina Gina Savakaya Taksu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadati Swam Padatitam Vandeham Shiguro Shiyuta Padakamalam Shigarum Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vikam Tam Sijivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Sya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Nanamami Hari Priye Vanchakopa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pe Bacha Patitanam Bhavane Bhyo Vaishnavi Bhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srimati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And so today is the disappearance day of a very great personality who was a predecessor. He appeared before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a place, the southern portion of the place called Koladweep, which, as it's described, is none different than the Vrindavan forest, and it's in the area of West Bengal, and it is called Champakati. And this place, Champakati, is very beautiful. Those of you who've been to Navadvip Dham, you can go to that place, and there's a village. And this is also the place where Jayadev Goswami worshipped Lord Gauranga.
Hello. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Can everyone hear Maharaj? For me, it looks like it's been paused.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a connection from Maharaj's side. Let me see. I think Maharaj has got disconnected. He might join us soon. Let's see. Apologies, everyone. Maharaj has been disconnected, so he will join soon. We're just going to listen some kirtan by the time we wait for Maharaj to join. Looks like some connection issues. Hopefully we'll see him soon.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hello.
Yes, Maharaj, you can continue.
Looks like my internet dropped off. I'm in a new place today. We're just getting used to it.
Okay, Maharaj.
So more about Jayadev Goswami. Jayadev Goswami was living in that area, was living in an area near Champakata. One king named Lakshman Sen, he had read Jayadev Goswami had authored this Dasavatar Stotra. We sing that sometimes. We sing some of the prayers from it. And the Shringa prayer is from that. Savakara Kam Namaste Savakara Kamala Varena Kamma Bhuta Shringa Dalitali Rani Kashiputano Bringa Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jaya Dev Jaya Jaya Narahari Rupa Jaya. Anyway.
Jagdish Hare.
Jaya Jaya Digshare. So this is one of the prayers. There are 10 Das avatars, and it's a series of prayers that go from the different avatars of Krishna in sequence, coming up all the way up to the Kalki avatar, and also describing one verse, glorifying the author. So this king, he heard about it, and he wanted to go see Jayadev to invite him into his kingdom, to invite him to come to visit his palace. The king, knowing he was a great sage and quite a renunciate, came in disguise as a sadhu. But Jayadev could immediately recognize it wasn't a sadhu. And the king revealed himself, saying that he had great admiration for Jayadev. And he wanted him to come to his palace, and he wanted to give Jayadev all kinds of gifts and all kinds of benedictions. Jayadev was not interested being a renunciate. And then he spoke kind of strongly to the king, saying that it is not proper, it's not the etiquette for a sadhu to associate with materialistic people who are engaged in pound, shilling, and pence. In other words, engaged with worldly activities. And so he said, if you persist, then I will leave this place completely. the king became a little anxious and became very humble and said, "If no, please don't go, don't leave this place. I will only come to see you only when you request me to do so. Otherwise, I will not come. But please stay within this area. And there's a beautiful forest called Champak Hati, and you can reside there." And Jayadev took his offer and moved to that place, which we were describing in West Bengal. And Jayadev was a Grihasta. He had a wife, no family. And he is famous for writing Gita Govinda, which is the very intimate pastimes of Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. Very, very intimate, very, very deep in the loving relations between Krishna and Vrindavan. We are cautioned by the acharyas not to read these works because they are so deep in esoteric communications between Krishna and Vrindavan, unless one is actually on the stage of spontaneous pure devotional service. They are not qualified to read or even, well, what to speak about to understand these pastimes. So Prabhupada has cautioned us, do not read Gita Govinda. Of course, some people don't listen to the cautionary words of the acharyas and still like to delve deep into these literatures, thinking they can understand or appreciate. And then they become polluted by their wrong mentality. So Jayadev was very deep in Radha Krishna Leelas, and he wrote about them. And one time when he was writing, he was at his home, he was writing Gita Govinda, and he, in his meditation, in his writing, he started to think of a particular statement that came to his mind. And it said, Lord Sri Krishna places his head at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. And then he stopped and thought, well, that doesn't sound right. Krishna putting his head at the feet of Srimati Radharani. So he kind of rejected that thought that came into his mind and then began his writing again. But when he tried to begin his writing again, nothing would come. His meditation was changed. He had rejected that statement. So he stopped his work and went to his wife and said, my dear wife, her name was Padmavati. My dear Padmavati, I'll be going down to the banks of the Ganga. For my bath, please prepare lunch prasadam. So he left for his bathing. Right at that time, Sri Krishna took the form of Jayadev Goswami and came into the house of Jayadev and acted like he was Jayadev. He called his wife, Padmavati, was actually Krishna in the disguise of Jayadev, and asked for lunch. The meal was prepared. She served him nicely. He honored the food, and then, of course, it's the duty of the husband to leave remnants for the wife. And so he did. And then he went over to his books, Krishna in the form of Jayadev, and started to write. After some time, the real Jayadev came back. Krishna had disappeared at that time. And he came into the house and said, my dear Padmavati, I'm ready for lunch. She was kind of shocked. What do you mean you're ready for lunch? You just came? You had lunch? What, my dear wife, what are you saying? I'm just now coming. No, you came. and here, this is the plate you ate from. And she showed him the half-finished plate. And of course, then Jayadev, then she said, and you went over to your book and you wrote. And then Jayadev understood everything within his heart. And he started to feel very, very happy for his wife. He said to my dear Padmavati, you are so fortunate that actually Krishna came and took your prasadam and left you the remnants of his foodstuffs. How fortunate of you are. Then he went over to his book, and that line, which he had written but crossed out, was now no longer crossed out, and he saw it was written, Shri Krishna places his head at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So that was actually written by Krishna himself to illustrate his position in relationship to his internal energy, Srimati Radharani, who is the epitome of loving relationships to Krishna. One who gets the mercy of Radharani can automatically achieve easily the mercy of Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada says, or no, actually writes, when Prabhupada came over on the Jaladuta in 1965, he wrote 2 poems, actually then were changed into songs. One was Markandayan Bhagavad Dharma, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, and the other one is the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. In that one, the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, he writes Radharani Sukhi Hubby, which means that if Radharani shows her mercy to you, only then, only when Radharani shows her mercy to you, is your activities in devotional service successful. So devotees, we pray to Srimati Radharani, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Adhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Suti Devi, Pranamami Hari Priyain. She is very dear to Lord Shri Krishna. How dear? It's explained that Krishna cannot be fully satisfied except Radharani. Only Radharani can fully satisfy Krishna. And Krishna is the epitome of all categories of existence. He is the sunam bonum, or complete essence of any category. He is the perfection of all categories, and therefore in the category of love, he is the best. But only Radharani can satisfy his loving desires. Therefore, how great is she? Therefore, she is considered to be, Pranamami Hari Priye, very, very dear to Krishna. So devotees say Jai Radhe, glorification of Srimati Radharani. Her appearance day falls about 2 weeks after the appearance day of Lord Shri Krishna on the Vaishnav calendar. And she is worshipped in glorification of Lord Shri Krishna. The pastimes when Maharaj Parikshit went to sit on the bank of the Ganga, waiting for the time of death, when his curse would take effect, to be bitten by a poisonous bird. Sukadev Goswami appeared there and started to narrate to the king the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And in his narration, he doesn't mention Srimati Radharani once. Only one time in a very indirect way, he says, Aradhanam, that the best form of worship is Srimati Radharani, which he mentions in a verse covering her identity, but at the same time mentioning her form of worship. And therefore, Radharani is, she is so exclusively, and therefore it says that in Vrindavan, they worship Krishna, but in Barsana, they worship Radharani. And they also worship Krishna in Vrindavan and in Barsana, but they think we worship Krishna because Radharani worships Krishna. We actually worship Radharani, but because Krishna is dear to Radharani, we also worship Krishna. So what they're saying is that the worship of Radharani is our preference. And Krishna is more or less there because of Radharani. So this is, and therefore sometimes it's explained that one of the names of Krishna, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, is Radhanath. Radhanath, the Lord of Radha. But in Barsana, the place of Radharani's pastimes, her temple is there, her home is there where she lived. She wasn't born there, she was born a distance away in a place called Ravel. But when she was about 3 years old, she moved, her parents, Rishabhanu and Kirtida, moved to Barsana. But they called, when they say the word Radhanath, they don't say Radharani, who is Krishna, who is the Lord of Radharani. They say Radha, who is Nath, or actually Radha, who is worshipped by Krishna. She is the one that is actually worshipped. She is the Lord, Radhanath, which means that the Lord, Radharani, who is actually the Lord. So those who understand deeply the mellows, the intricacies of pure devotional service in the mood of Vrindavan, always give all glory to Srimati Radharani. She is very special, very dear to Krishna. Jayadev Goswami in this particular work illustrates that. This is a little bit about Jayadev Goswami. He's written a couple other books also. And of course, we mentioned the Das Avatars, which are a succession of the different incarnations of the Lord as they evolve through the different species. First is the fish incarnation, Matsya, then the tortoise, Korma, then the boar incarnation, Varaha. And you see the gradual evolution in the form of species as the Lord incarnates in these 10 avatars. And then we have the lion incarnation, half man, half lion, the Shringadev, and then the Aborigine, Parasaram, who is considered to be an Aborigine in his form as Parasaram, although it's an incarnation of the Lord. Then we have Vamanadev, the dwarf Brahmana, and on through then we have Balaram, and we also have Ramchandra, the Supreme Lord, and then we have Buddha, and then we have the Kalki manifestation. So as the elevation of the different species goes from one form to another, and even within the human species, the different gradations are mentioned in the form of Krishna's incarnations. And that's a beautiful song. And on each one of the appearance days of these these different forms of the Lord, we chant these different mantras. We chant, Srila Prabhupada gave us the Nrsingadev mantra. We chant it every day at the end of the Arti ceremony. So we worship Lord Nrsingadev every day for the protection of the devotees, for the protection of the temples, for the protection of the movement. This is another beautiful prayer by Jayadev Goswami. Let me see what else we have here on Jayadev. Okay. One day Jayadev was worshiping Krishna in ecstasy. He saw Lord Krishna transformed to a color of a champak flower. He accepted the most beautiful effulgence of molten gold. His face was very beautiful, defeating the beauty of millions of moons. It was framed by his gentle curling hair. From his neck hung an exquisite flower garland. The entire cottage, which was made of leaves, was illuminated by the effulgence of the Lord. Seeing the Lord's form, Jayadev fainted in ecstasy and tears flowed from his eyes. His wife Padmati, she also saw the form and fainted to the ground also. The Lord appeared and picked them up bothly with his hand, told them very sweetly, "You are both my sober devotees, and I have a great desire to give you my darshan. Very soon in the city of Nadia, I will take birth as the son of Sachi Devi. I will engage in the Sankirtan with my devotees and my various incarnations, and we will distribute love of God. At the age of 24, I will accept the sannyas order of life and travel to Jagannath Puri. And at that time, I will relish your work, Gita Govinda, along with my associates. I must tell you that Gita Govinda compiled by you is very dear to me. This Navadvip Dham is most certainly a transcendental place, and you will come back here after leaving your body. Now both of you go to serve Lord Jagannath in Nilachala, and you will attain love of God." And then Lord Gauranga disappeared, and both of them again fainted in separation after the Lord had now disappeared. So you can see, even before Lord Chaitanya came, he revealed his mission and his activities to Jayadev and his wife. We can understand how glorious this personality Jayadev Goswami is. And there's, in that same area, which is the Navadvip Dham area, there are deities of Gaur Gadadhar established by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And there's a place where he lived in Champakata. And it's still there, the bedroom. So there's much on Jayadev Goswami. Not so much, I wouldn't say not too much on Jayadev Goswami. Okay, this is a little bit about Jayadev Goswami. I'll read some of the verses that is from the Das Avatar, so you could all appreciate the beautiful meter and how it's nicely described. This is the first verse from the Gita, from Das Avatar. Pralayam prayudi jaladrittavan asi vehidam vihita vahita charita rakhehidam Hey Savadritam Ninasarihiram Jai Jagadisa Hare Jaya Jagadisa Hare Jai Dangadisa Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, you have assumed the form of a fish. All glories unto you. You easily acted as a boat in the form of a gigantic fish just to give protection to the Vedas, which had become immersed in the turbulent sea of devastation. Lord took a form of a fish to save the Vedas during the time of the devastation in the universe. Chitri ihal vipulatere tishtare tava prihistem Dharanidara kinka chakra garistem Esavadritam kurmasari hiram Jaya jagadisa hare Jaya jagadisa hare Jai Jangadisa hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a tortoise, all glories to you. In this incarnation as a divine tortoise, the great Mandara mountain rests upon your gigantic back as a pivot for churning the ocean of milk. From holding up the huge mountain, a large scar-like depression is put into your back, which has become most glorious. So here, when the demons and the demigods were fighting and working together to churn the ocean of milk in order to get the elixir of immortality, the churning rod was becoming very unsteady and they couldn't do it properly. So it's described that they grabbed the snake's Visuki, and the demons held one end and the demigods held the other end, and they were trying to churn, but still it was becoming difficult. So Lord came as a pivot rod for churning in the form of this gigantic tortoise. Another incarnation of the Lord mentioned in the Bhagavatam. The third, Vasati tasana sikare dharani tavalagnam Shashini kalanka kalevani mahagnam Eshavadritam sukara rupam Jayam jagadisa hare Jai jagadisa hare Jaya jagadisa hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar, all glories to you. The earth, which has become immersed in the Garbhodak ocean at the bottom of the universe, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk, like a spot upon the moon. So when the battle between Lord Boar and Lord Krishna, and between, not Lord Boar, but Hiranyaksha and Lord Boar, the demon Hiranyaksha, after the demon was killed, the Lord dove into the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean to pick up the earth which had fallen from its orbit due to the exploitation caused by this powerful demon. This pastime is mentioned in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, the one we all know. Tavakara kamala gorhaina kamadbhuta srihingam Dalita hiranya kashiputanu brihingam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupaham Jayan Jagadisa Hare. O Jai Jagadisa Hare. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. So he refers to the Lord in each one of these prayers. He begins, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of half man, half lion. All glories unto you. Just as one can easily crush a wasp between one's fingernails, so in the same way the body of a wasp-like demon, Hiranyakashipu, has been ripped apart by the pointed nails on your beautiful lotus hands. So we all know that pastime from the 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, as the Lord came to kill the demon Hiranyakashipu and give protection to his pure devotee, Prahlad Maharaj. Number 5, Chalasi Vikram Ane Balim Abhuta Vamana. Chalasi Vikram Ane Balim Abhuta Vamanam. Haranaka Nida Jati Jana Pavanam. Eshavadritaham Vamanarupaham Jayan Jagadisa Hare. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Jai Jagadisa Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a dwarf Brahman, all glories unto you. O wonderful dwarf, by your massive steps you deceived King Bali, and by the Ganges water that emanated from the nails of your lotus feet, you delivered all living beings within this world. So we know that story, how the Lord came into the assembly house of Bali to trick Bali into giving him a benediction as he came into Brahman. And he asked for 3 steps of land, but in 2 steps he took everything in the universes, both higher, lower, all the universes, on all levels. And then when he extended his foot, although he was a little tiny boy, he extended his foot, it punctured the hole in the universe, and the Ganges water came flowing down out of that puncture, one of the origins of the Ganges in this world. So this is a beautiful pastime from the 8th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Kshatriya Rudiramanye Jaga Apatapahapam Snapaya Svapayasi Samipavatahapam Eshavadritaham Brigupati Rupaham Jayan Jagadisa Hare. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Jai Jagadisa Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Brigupati, Parasaram, all glories unto you. At Kurukshetra, you bathe the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of the demoniac Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the world are washed away by you, and because of you, people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. So Parasaram destroyed these demoniac Kshatriyas who had taken the position of kings, and he killed 21 generations of these Kshatriyas, ridding the world of this demoniac influence. So his pastimes is mentioned in the 9th canto. Vitarasi dikshu rane dikpati kamaniyam dasamukamauli balimramaniyam eshavadritaham brahmasarihira jaya jagadisa hare. Jai Jagadisa Hare. Jai Jagadisa Hare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Lord Ramachandra, all glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon Ravana and distributed his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them, who were much harassed by this monster. So Ravana, he had captured Sita and he had terrorized the whole countryside by his exploits, just gathering more and more wealth. And he made the mistake of capturing the internal energy Sita Devi of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord came and killed him by cutting off his 10 heads, as is mentioned here. Number 8. Vahasiva pusa visade vasana jaladahambam alahati biti militi jamunahambam Keshavadritaham aladara rupaham jai jagadi sahare O jai jagadi sahare Jai jagadi sahare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Balaram, the wielder of the plow, all glories to you. On your brilliant white body, you wear garments of the color of fresh blue rain cloud. These garments are colored like the beautiful dark hue of the river Jamuna, who feels great fear due to your striking of your plowshare. This is the appearance of Lord Balaram and his beautiful color, his garments, and how he summoned Jamuna, who refused to come to him when he first petitioned her, and he took his plowshare and cut the Jamuna into many, many streamlets, which are still there today. And then she appeared to him. Number 9. Lindasi yagya vidhe ahaha shruti jahatam tadaya hridaya darsite pasugristam keshavadritam burasarihiraham jayan jagadi sahare jai jagadi sahare Jai jagadi sahare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Buddha, all glories to you. O Buddha of compassionate heart, you decry the slaughtering of poor animals performed according to the rules of Vedic sacrifice. So Buddha is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he comes as a sadhu and teaches non-violence as the principle of religion. Although he is the Supreme Lord, he remained hidden in his actual disguise. People at that time were performing the Vedic sacrifices in order to kill animals for their own sense gratification. They had disrespected the sacrifices and were doing it for their own selfish interest. Buddha came and said, forget about your Vedas and just worship the eightfold process of enlightenment. And he taught these processes, which are principles of the mode of goodness. And that was Buddha. Although he didn't come, he came as an incarnation, but he was actually the Lord, but he remained hidden. Number 10, Malecha viha ninda hidkala sikarahalam Dhumaketu ihakim apakarahalam Keshavadritam kalkisarihiraham jayan jagadi sahare Jai jagadi sahare Jai jagadi sahare. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who assumed the form of Kalki, all glories to you. You appear like a comet and carrying a terrible sword for the bringing the annihilation of the wicked and barbarian men at the end of the Kali Yuga. So we are now just reading that from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord will incarnate when there is no longer any need to preach. People will become more just like animals, and there will be this class of really wicked barbarian type men who will be roaming the world, exploiting everyone in a violent way. Those of you who think the material world is a nice place, just read this one over again. It's a horrible place because it's a place where the demons like to do their work. But in order to protect the earth, the Lord appears as a powerful Kshatriya and cuts off the heads of all of the wicked barbarian men and ushers in the new age, the age of Satya Yuga. And the last one, number 12, actually number 11, sorry. Sri Jaya Dev Kavya Idam Uditam Udaram Shrinu Sukadam Sukadam Bhava Saharam Eshavadritaham Dasavidharupaham Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So Sri Jayadev is writing this, and in this one, he says, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed these 10 different forms of incarnations, all glories to you. O readers, please hear this hymn of the poet Jayadev, which is most excellent, an awarder of happiness, a bestower of auspiciousness, and is the best thing in this dark world. So now he is glorifying this work that he has presented because it is a pure glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then there's another verse which mentions all of these incarnations again in a summary form, and that's the last verse in this series. This particular narration which I read to is found in the Gita Govinda. There are other narrations of these same pastimes, Gita Govinda mentioned in other places, but in this Gita Govinda, it is given in a more detailed way. So here's a little bit about Jayadev Goswami. You can go to this place called Champakata. We're nearing the time where the Navadvip Mandala Parikram will be coming, and and perform activities there and glorify Jayadev Goswami also. So Srila Prabhupada has recommended that we visit the Holy Land once a year, especially during the time of Lord Chaitanya's appearance, the Gaur Purnima festival time. And if you go towards the end of the month of February, I believe, towards the last days of February, there's a schedule where for 5 days the devotees go to all the holy places, accompanied by many, many devotees from different countries around the world. It's an international group of devotees. Many senior devotees come and speak about the glories of these holy places for 5 consecutive days. A wonderful festival. Everyone should go at least one time in their life, but if we want to follow the advice of Srila Prabhupada, he said go every year and enjoy, and I use the word with emphasis, enjoy Navadvip Dham, of the place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance and his activities, along with many of his associates. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. It was so beautiful, nectarian, and sweet to hear the Dashavatara Stroth from you and in the pastime of Jayadev Goswami. Thank you. Very sweet pastime and amazing and elevated devotee. Devotees, if you have any questions, comment, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. If you can't talk, please you type it in the chat and I'll read it for you. And it'll be really nice to take a darshan if you can keep your cameras on as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
You may also make comments if there's no questions.
Yeah.
Those of you who have been to maybe Champakata or have some knowledge of Jayadev or something related.
So is it, so Maharaj, while we're waiting for devotees to think, is it the birthplace of Jayadev Goswami, which is in Navdeep, near Navdeep, or is in Navdeep?
I have to again read and see exactly where it's mentioned where he appeared. Let me see here. Let's see here. All we know is that he was okay. It says once Nadia was ruled by King Lakshman Singh. At that time, the great poet Jayadev was living here as one of the citizens. The most sober Jayadev was living in a cottage on the bank of the Ganga at Dalal Dirgika with his wife Padmavati. So this place, Dalal Dirgika, used to be his place. And then he moved to, he was given the place of Champak Hati as a place to reside. Seems like he's from that area.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Doesn't
And
give exact place where he was actually appeared.
it's okay. I just wanted to check. No. Yeah, and the pastime you mentioned about that, Jayadev, Krishna gave his darshan to Jayadev in his dreams. So that was first time I heard that pastime. I didn't know that Krishna, came appeared in his dream and told him that he's going to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And
No, this wasn't a dream. He personally appeared.
really, okay, I must have missed it. Okay.
No, this wasn't a dream at all. He personally appeared in his form as Lord Chaitanya. If both him and his wife, they were both there.
So beautiful.
Yeah, Lord's merciful.
Yeah. So, I mean, assuming that the latest stages of his life, he spent the time in Jagannath Puri.
Yeah, he spent time in Jagannath Puri, towards that was in, the Lord appeared to him in Puri. No, he actually appeared to him, he told him, go to Jagannath Puri, and then you will attain all perfection.
Thank you. Because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, quite a few places where Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to listen the, Jaydev Goswami's Gopi Geet. So yeah, this is how came to know about Jaydev Goswami. Thank you, Maharaj. It was nice.
Okay, there's other pastimes that are about him. And Jiva Goswami also mentions one pastime. Okay, so thank you very much, devotees. Doesn't seem that it's not usually a class for questions. This is a class for hearing about the glories of the Lord. But if there's any last minute statements by anyone, we can end here.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All to Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for the class, Guru Maharaj. Actually, Scarlett Mataji messaged me. She couldn't attend the class, but she wanted to ask a question regarding today's daily drops. Guru Maharaj. So she wants to get more detailed answer because she didn't understand. And even I was also thinking the daily drops about the mentality of the neophyte disciple is their preference towards the departed sadhus than to the present day ones. Can you a little bit elaborate on this?
Yeah, this is a statement by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur that the neophyte devotees are actually, he says, he also uses the word common people, which also refers to people with a common mentality. So I took that and just reproduced it by saying that, yeah, the tendency is more towards those departed than those present. Because if we really understand the importance of Guru and Sadhu, we wouldn't be living the way we do. When we understand, we can't approach the Lord, it's not possible. But if we get the blessings and mercies of the great souls, and therefore they are present personally in our lives, if we don't take advantage of hearing from them or worshiping them or following their instructions, the tendency is in that statement, which is kind of giving the point that people want to avoid the present day sadhus and glorify the past day sadhus because it's easier. There's no commitment there. The sadhu will tell you, you're in Maya. You're a rascal. You're wasting your life. Lord Chaitanya said, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Goda Chandra Bole. Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, wake up, wake up. So yeah, and that's a statement by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. I changed one thing. He says common people. I said neophyte devotees. What I think is the same mentality. And the neophyte devotees have the same mentality as the common people.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Srimati Mataji. Thanks, Maharaj. Yes, so we can end the class now. And thank you, Maharaj, for your time and association, despite your traveling so much.
Sorry about the internet here. I didn't expect it to collapse, but it did.
Where are you at the moment, Maharaj? In Mumbai?
Ujjain.
Oh,
I'm in your home.
you are in Ujjain, Maharaj. Oh my God.
Yeah, I just got here today.
Guru Maharaj, will you be giving classes for them in the morning, Srimad Bhagavatam classes? Guru Maharaj?
Every day in Bhagavatam class. Yeah.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. So
Tomorrow-
it will be live
tomorrow's-
broadcast. That will be live broadcasted, right, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, you just have to make the time change.
Okay, yeah, but I just want to search for the recordings and share it with the God family.
Yeah. So,
Okay, Guru Maharaj, sure, I'll do that. I'll search it out.
yeah.
What time, please, may I know in the morning so we can live stream it here?
It should be in Mayapur TV, Sridevi.
Yeah, I'm just wanting to know the time when Guru Maharaj will start giving the class, so I don't miss it.
Starts at 8 o'clock here. Which
Okay.
is the same time as you, 8 o'clock. Indian time, 8 o'clock. And make the adjustments according to where you are.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Can't sleep at night, you can listen to my class. It's one way if you can't sleep in the evening, you just listen to my class and you'll be fast asleep. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Wonderful. Thank you, Mataji.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.